Hello and welcome back to the PompeyCast, episode 5. Today there's many things we're talking about. We're talking about Liga and the Eredivisie. We're talking about Captain Tom Moore, talking about new news on Real FC as well. Something's gone on there. We're talking about Chelsea and what they've said earlier today. Also talking about Newcastle and something going on there. The Bundesliga's had some news from the government, they've been told. And something about Dave Kitson as well. He said something funny earlier in the week. But we'll start off on a bit of a unhappy note with the passing of Don Merrick earlier in the month. He passed of coronavirus. Obviously, not nice for anyone to get it and to obviously pass from it. Our thoughts and prayers go out to his family, his friends, people who knew him the best. We've heard many great things on Facebook over the weeks of people sharing their memories with him. He's clearly an amazing man who's taken too soon from this earth, but we'd just like to pass on our condolences.
Yeah, definitely, mate.
Yeah, and once again, we'll get on to a lighter note now. I'm joined with Dad today. How are you this week?
Not too bad, buddy.
Good. You still bored?
Yes.
Yeah, I think we're all getting a bit bored now. But we'll start off with Liga and the Eredivisie both being cancelled this week. I think the Eredivisie was the first to go, then Liga, but the French officials have now decided that the league will be finished now, but also that it will be decided on however it is at the minute. So PSG are French champions, which is probably fair enough. The 4th, 5th and 6th go into the Europa League and everyone, and 2nd, 3rd, and I think maybe 4th, I don't know how it quite works, going to the Champions League. So whoever would have, like the cup competitions are instead replaced by a league position. 2 teams go down, 2 teams go up. Quite simple. What are your opinions on this, Dad?
I think PSG should be champions, no doubt about that, because they're 12 points clear and they've got a game in hand.
Yeah.
But I don't agree with the rest of like relegation and promotion. I don't agree with that. Because I don't think there's still teams who've still got a chance to stay up. Yeah. And teams have still got a chance to finish in a higher position. So I don't agree with that.
Yeah, I can see exactly where you're coming from. That teams that could be just hitting form or could just have dropped into the relegation zone, are obviously now being dropped down into the league below when they could have had a chance to stay up. But what about if a team was bottom of the league and they'd been there all season, they never looked likely to escape? Well, what do you think of that?
I just think it sets a precedent across the board. It's just, I mean, I don't know the French league very well. Neither do you, I don't think. But,
no, I don't.
But I don't see how, obviously, different countries will have different scenarios in place to how teams get promoted and relegated. If that is going to be a case across the board where this is going to become the norm in European football. But we'll have to see. But I think you should always try and give teams, even if you can't finish the season, should teams really be relegated when they haven't had a chance to stay up? I don't know. I don't agree with that.
That's fair enough. Actually, that's obviously your opinion. I think that we should give teams a chance. We should try our hardest to finish the season. But obviously, the French officials and the French teams and all that clearly don't see a future happening. But that's obviously how it's going to be. They've introduced that. They're now not finishing. They've done it, nothing going on there. But obviously, at least there's been an outcome. I think it's better to have an outcome to the season than it is to just cancel it and start again. Because obviously it's the knock-on effect as well of teams, what happens to them. But we'll now move on. We'll move away from football for a second, and we'll move on to Captain Tom Moore being now the honorary Colonel of Harrogate.
Legend.
There's been many people calling for him to be given a knighthood. What do you think to this?
Definitely, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Superb effort. The man's a complete legend. He fought in the World War II. What he's done for charity and what he's done to help the NHS out through all this horrible situation is absolutely marvellous. There's no doubt. There's nothing you couldn't. Anything that can be bestowed upon that man is just. There should be more people like that in the society nowadays.
Yeah.
And if there was, the place would be a lot better.
Yeah, obviously.
To live in.
£30 million plus now raised for the NHS.
Yeah,
that's the most anyone's ever raised. He's also hit the oldest person to ever get a UK number 1. Obviously, even with the weekend, even saying to download his tune, which is unbelievable. He had the flyover on his birthday. We'd like to say happy birthday,
Yeah.
Hit 100 today. He set out to get 1,000. He's gone over 30 million. He's just the true hero of the country. Stepped up with his mates to fight in World War II, and he's now come back again to fight to help end coronavirus, which is just unbelievable. But yeah, well, anyway, we've obviously spoke about that. So the next thing is about Real FC, and I don't even know if you know this yet, but a Phoenix club, that they've set one up. Obviously, after the efforts last week to get some money in, they've set up a Phoenix club, just like Bury have in Bury AFC.
Yeah.
Real have now set up another club. What are your opinions on a Phoenix club being set up for them?
Well, any chance for a club to survive and flourish after all this goes away, hopefully, and carries on, can only be a good thing. So, yeah, I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, it's definitely positive for their fans and for all the volunteers and everyone, because it may not be the same club, but that all of them are going together to this new journey and starting a new beginning with the club they love so much.
Yeah.
I'm guessing it'll be just like AFC Wimbledon, they'll get everything back. I hope they're same for Bury as well, but it's positive for all the fans to they know now that when they come back they might still have football to watch, and we'll try and get down there one day and go and do a ground topping video down there, hopefully.
Yeah, of course.
Obviously in Wales. So, and the guy that obviously I've been speaking to that is a real fan has also said, if I do have any Welsh viewers of this, or if I have any people willing to join their supporters association for £5 a year for an adult or free for a child for the next season, feel free. He said, just look on their page. I don't know where the link is. I'll try and find it, put it in the description. Don't know if I will be able to, but yeah, £5 for adults, free for kids. If I've got any fans in that area of Wales, or any fans that have kind of a soft spot for Real, want to help them a bit, feel free to do that, just to help them out. And yeah. Now we'll move on to what Chelsea came out and said earlier. I also don't think you know about this yet, but Chelsea have said they want all of their foreign players back in the country by Sunday. Have you heard of that?
No.
Well, yeah, they said earlier today that they want all of their foreign players, such as Pulisic, back in the country by Sunday. What do you think of that?
Well, that's not even up to them. That's up to, if there's flights available, probably there isn't going to be. If countries have got, their borders are closed, they've got lockdown, so that's a complete, in my view, that's a silly statement to make, saying, can you get all these, I don't know how many players they've got.
There's probably quite a few.
That's stupid, because a lot of the countries around the world are still on lockdowns, the borders are all closed, there's no flights going anywhere, and if the flights are going, it's only for emergency to repatriate people. So, in my view, that's a completely silly statement. And it's something that's not going to happen in the near future anyway.
Yeah.
Or certainly in the next week or two.
Yeah, obviously, and also you have to think of it, and it's like, why would they want them back so soon? The lockdown's looking like it's going to be extended, and you also have to look at it and think, football's not coming back anytime soon. Let's be honest, football's not looking like it's going to be anywhere. It's in the background at the minute.
No, I think you got.
So I don't know why they want all their players back now when they're not allowed to train or do anything like that.
No, definitely.
It seems silly to want everyone back and here when why are they here? They're going to be isolating with no one that they know.
If there is players abroad, are they going to fly back? It's not going to happen.
That's another thing, isn't it? But also, if you're having players that are from abroad, such as Pulisic, who's he going to stay with when he comes here?
Yeah.
He may live here normally, but if he's back with his family, he'll want to be with his family at this hard time.
But that's for another discussion. Why were these players allowed to?
Yeah.
So.
Why were they allowed to leave in the first place?
That's for another podcast. If that is the case, they've got players in various parts of the world, and they've got contracts with their football clubs. Why were they allowed to fly to here, there, and everywhere before there was a lockdown? But that's a discussion for another day.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that should have been allowed as well. If you're under contract to a football club, and you're in the middle of the season, or three quarters of the way through the season, and fair enough, this coronavirus has happened. Why were these players allowed to travel to America, or like Blake says, because that's farcical. They're under contract to the football clubs, but that's a discussion for another day.
It's a big thing that we can talk about. It's massive.
I think we'll look into that a bit more and discuss it on another podcast.
Yeah, probably. We'll see what happens with this on Sunday and see where it goes.
If that is the case, that shouldn't have happened.
Yeah, I don't know why they've said it. We'll move on to another Premier League club. Obviously, it's turning into more of all things football podcast, which we might set up. that's separate from this one when the season comes back, because we'll have plenty of stuff to talk about then.
Yeah.
But at the minute, it's just a football podcast in general. And we're moving on to Newcastle now, and who the new owners might want to replace Bruce. That they've been talking about it all week. Loads of fans have been saying, "Oh, we want him in. We want Allegri in. We want loads of different managers back in." And the front runner out of all of this has come out is Mauricio Pochettino. What do you think of this?
Well, number one, I think Steve Bruce should be given a chance to prove himself if this new Saudi consortium comes in and does take over Newcastle. Number one, I don't think he should sack. I mean, he hasn't done a bad job. They're 13th in the Premier League. He's had no money to spend. Apart, I thought he bought a dodgy striker.
He bought a couple of players, but not
no massive money to spend. So I think he should be given a chance to prove himself before there's even any talk of any managers coming in. That's my view.
I'll agree with you there. Obviously, he's done the best he probably could do with what he's got. But you can't just say, well, with new owners coming in, sack him. Because look at what's happening. He could be someone that they could mould into what they want to do at the football club. They might get another manager and he might not suit the football club whatsoever. He might not like it there. Steve Bruce is one of their own. He is a Newcastle man. He knows what he's doing there. He knows a lot about the football club. That's probably the person you want to teach a new owner about what's going on. You don't want someone that knows nothing. So say you bring in Allegri in, you don't want him in and he'll be like, well, I don't know what's going on. The owners won't know what's going on. So that if they're going to do that, they have to appoint in a decent chairman to teach. But I'd say Pochettino, if they were to get him in, as I'd say he'd probably be the best man for the job. You look at what he's done. I know we're not going to talk about what he done before Tottenham because obviously it was from that down the road, but he did a good job.
I think obviously this is all hypothetical and all speculation. I'd give Steve Bruce the chance to prove himself before there's any talk of any new manager coming in or out or anything like that. You got to look at also the fact that you're trying to attract a manager. It's not just about money. There is UEFA financial fair play regulations in now that probably weren't in place when Abramovich came in. These sort of things weren't in place now.
Sheikh Mansour as well.
City. These financial regulations weren't in place when those clubs were taken over. So it'd be a lot different now. It's all good and well. Saudi owners coming in with lots of money, but they'll be under. They can't just go out. They've got to try and prove as a business model. They
haven't even been accepted as owners yet.
No, so once again, it's speculation. But the rules now on football clubs are a lot different to when they were when, like Blake said, when the Man City takeover and the Chelsea takeover.
Yeah.
Even when Man United got taken over by the Glazers, it's completely different.
But if you look at it carefully as well, with the City one, everyone's thinking, oh, Newcastle, all this money, who they're going to have in next season. What did City do? Other than Robinho, who did they get in?
Yeah,
they didn't go and spend millions in the first. They spent Robinho and they didn't bring anyone else in. They can't. Well, they brought Bellamy came in, but Bellamy's not. He's like bringing in Mark Noble. He's a good player, but he's not.
I think football, when this is all this horrible thing is over, COVID-19, all this stuff's over, will be a very different place. Yeah. I don't think transfer fees will not be going 200-300 million like they have been.
There won't be money.
There won't be a lot. People will be a lot more careful in general life.
Wages as well.
Everything, wages, everything.
You have to look at players that are on too much.
Yeah. So the landscape of football, when this is all over, will be very different to what it is now.
For sure.
Or what it has been in the past.
The German Bundesliga, the other news we were talking about, are now being told by Angela Merkel, the leader of Germany, that they have to wait for a further week until a return date for football is confirmed, even though players are already at training. Well, what do you think of this?
Well, it's just, all these leagues are down to like government advice and things like that. So I think it's completely right. You've got to follow the government advice, the health advice, and then go from there. You can't just. A lot of it's all rumours and things like that. So you can't just go off on your own willy-nilly. You've got to follow government advice and health advice.
Yeah, obviously Angela Merkel wants it to come back, but she said now that she's giving it another week until she can say a definitive answer of it's coming back then. She doesn't want to put in place saying now and then something go horribly wrong. Yeah. If you look at something that I found amazing with Borussia Mönchengladbach, fans are paying a small sum of money to have cardboard cutouts of themselves in their season ticket seat or in a seat in the stadium to give it an aura of still having support in the stadium, which I thought was great.
Right.
Obviously, players are back in training in small numbers, which shows that football could be gradually on its way back in, and hopefully there'll be streaming services that people can watch all around the world, not on BT Sport as it is at the minute for German football.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's shared, especially in Germany for the football fans of those clubs.
Yeah.
You'd hope that there is a streaming service for free if you had a ticket.
Yeah, definitely.
Like we've got, you'd hope that, because we have season tickets, you'd hope that, you get a free viewing if you can put your season ticket number in, you put your ticket number in, you say, I was going to this match, you'd be like, okay, you watch it for free. But yeah, obviously, that she can't just rush in, can she? Obviously. But now, we'll move on to something that we literally just found out about now. A leaked message has come out from Bristol Rovers manager talking about what's going to happen and the votes that he needs. And he mentioned something very in particular that we listened to. And it said that he doesn't think, something was said about fans not being allowed back into stadiums and to watch games until January 2021. What are your opinions on this?
That is possible. You don't know unless there is a vaccine or there's some sort of the testing's ramped up, or or there's temperature checks for people coming in the stadiums. That is something that could happen. It's not beyond the realms of possibility. But I certainly think that unless there's a vaccine, or we get this massively under control, there's no way that you're going to have thousands of people in stadiums, or thousands of people in concerts, or thousands of people going to festivals, or massive congregations in pubs. That is not going to happen until there is either a vaccine, or we've got this COVID-19 massively under control, and that clearly isn't the case at the moment, even though the cases are coming down.
Yeah, cases, obviously, the brilliant news that came out yesterday, QA Hospital, no death yesterday. I don't know what it's like today, there might have been a couple today. But obviously it's good news that it's dropped and there's none yesterday. It's looking like, obviously, overall deaths in the UK are slightly lower. We're not going to jump on the conclusion and say, look, it's coming down, because you don't want to rush into stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously, if it's a huge possibility that fans won't be allowed in for ages. And yeah, as Dad said, until you have a way of letting them in, you can't just say, yeah, all right, we're back now. We're out of lockdown and you can. Well, it's not as simple as that.
But obviously, we're just speculating. We don't know.
Yeah, but we're not government advisors.
It's not even down to the football clubs. They'll have to take advice from the government. The government's taking advice from the health people, and that's the only way that anything is going to move forward. But I can certainly see. I don't think that it'd be quite a while before thousands and thousands of people are certainly let into football grounds, let into attend concerts,
even pubs, anything.
Well, I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
In the short term, anyway.
And along with that you're saying there about people, obviously, it's not up to the clubs. The head of policing for football came out, I think yesterday or the day before, saying that they want the police to have rights to end the season if they think something's going to go wrong. So they want the police to have the rights to just say, no, we're not doing this anymore, it's done. Because they don't want something bad to happen, they don't want it to come back again. So if they think that cases are going up a bit or that something's going on, they want the rights to just say, no, it's done, it's done.
Yeah.
But obviously, anyway, we'll get onto the funniest news of the week. We don't know if it's funny, we don't know if it's serious, but former Pompey striker Dave Kitson came out this week saying he wants to take over as the PFA chief. What do you think of that?
That's comical, isn't it?
Yeah, well, he said, which obviously his point could be valid for some people, that he thinks that the PFA chief currently is not doing a good job, and he thinks he could do a better job. So obviously he wants to know what he could do in the future to improve it. He wants to be the person that takes it forward in the future. Just had a bit of a technical issue. We don't know what happened there.
That's all right, guys.
We're now just going to finish off. Obviously, Kitson talking about it. It's a bit funny, isn't it? A bit laughable. He obviously wants to know what he can do better. He wants to try and do better, but I don't think he'll be able to, knowing his record.
No, shocking.
But anyway, we'll finish the video there. There's a lot of things to talk about. Hopefully next week there'll be a bit more.
Yeah, we still elaborate on more things we talked about earlier on.
Definitely. And how many likes on today's video?
We'll go for 30 likes. We got 24 last week, 187 views so far. So we go for 30 likes. Do you reckon, mate?
Yeah, I reckon it's possible. I mean, gradually getting to 30. We hit the 10, hit the 15, hit the 20. Didn't quite hit the 30 last week, so we go for 30 again then.
And we'll do some more.
More videos, yeah, definitely.
And we'll do some more research on some of the topics we've covered earlier on that we're not
we're not too sure.
But probably things will elaborate in the media over the next week or two. We'll go for that.
And also, stay tuned to the channel for prank videos on him, FIFA videos. Any videos you want to see, let me know down below. Any channel name suggestions, because at the minute it's just my name. I want to change that. Any name suggestions you think I could change it to down below, let me know.
Change your name?
No, the channel name, not mine.
Well,
we always end the videos on a funny note, don't we?
Sorry.
But yeah, let us know what you want to see. I can do. There might be also some Call of Duty World War II gameplay coming out as well. A couple of my mates, same with FIFA, a bit of that coming out. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe. Still trying to hit 250, and see you in the next one. Up the Blues.
Up the Blues.